All right. Well, first of all, just want to say thank you to the people that stopped by from my original video. I was very surprised at the views that I got and the comments. I think that was great. I think it had a lot to do with because I posted on Reddit. But thank you if you stopped by and you're watching this from the first video. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I know that this is such a small part of the world as far as people dealing with problems, but the agoraphobia community can definitely seems good, and there's a lot of people that want to help and want to be a part of the journey. So I thank you if you're from that video or if you're from YouTube naturally, and I just want to say thank you for stopping by. My name is Tyler. I am 29 years old, and I live in Central Florida with my wife and 2 dogs, and just going through this agoraphobia. And I'm gonna use this channel as a way to kind of talk about different aspects and different things that I've learned about agoraphobia, share my experiences, and also share my progress. I want somewhere for all of this to live and stay instead of just taking space on my phone. And if I can meet people along the way who want to share similar stories or any success tips and tricks, that'll be great. But mostly this is just something I want to have to look back on in the future, in hopes that I'll be able to look back and say, "Dang, I've come far." And yeah, so again, thank you for stopping by. I just want to give a brief summary. Today, specifically, I want to talk about agoraphobia and how it affects life, like your life. One second, I need to do something. I noticed in my first video that I could hear my fan going, and I knew that would be kind of distracting, so I had to turn it off. Thank you. So agoraphobia and how it affects life. And clearly, it very much, it can be life-destroying. And, I think of agoraphobia for me as like a life lesson. Something that, once I overcome that, I'll be so much stronger and grateful for the experience. And it sounds crazy for me to say that, I'm sure you probably think it's crazy that I'll be grateful to have the experience, but it's going to teach me how to truly appreciate life and the things that I used to do. Like, even the thought of just going grocery shopping with my wife just sounds like heaven to me. Like, I haven't done that in years, and it would bring me so much happiness, So I think of it as a way, like, once I've overcome this and gotten better, like, I'll really be able to appreciate my life and not take small things for granted, like going grocery shopping with my wife or running errands with her or just doing daily tasks, But I was thinking the other day, and I was like, trying to look back and be like, man, agoraphobia is my life now. Like, I don't take the time to try and enjoy my days. I don't take the time to enjoy life because I'm so focused on my problem, and I'm stuck at the house. I'll look at all my friends and family going and living their life and doing all of this and doing that, and that really used to affect me deeply. I fell into a great depression last year, mostly because I wasn't working and I wasn't doing anything, so I literally just sat in my house and just dwelled on everything, and it was just the worst year of my life, aside from the pandemic, of course. That definitely added fuel to the fire. But, like, this whole time I've been dealing with this, I've only been focused on my problems and getting better, quote unquote, getting better. And I haven't been living life. And of course, I've been living life, and parts of it I've been enjoying, but I've been just so focused on this is just a hiccup. Once I get through it, I'll be able to live life and enjoy life. And like that's absolutely how most of us approach this. But like I also need to take a step back, and I think a lot of people do, is try and enjoy, as crazy as that sounds, life while getting through this, while progressing. And it's such a crazy thing to say, because for me personally, this has been such a life-changing thing for me. Like my life like 4 years ago and in the past, I was never someone who liked to be at the house. I hated being in the house. I hated, not going and doing something. I was always a go, go, go. Like, let's go do this. Let's go do that. Mostly because growing up, my parents, we didn't have any money to do anything, so we never did anything. So when I grew up and got out on my own, after work, I was always doing something. I was going here, going there, going to see this person, going to do this with this person. Like, I was never at the house. And the first few years of agoraphobia really, really just hit me hard, because it was such a life-changing experience. And it was debilitating for me, because like I couldn't do anything that I loved. Like, I'm an outdoorsman. I love to go on walks. I love to go see nature. I love to go on, because I live in Florida. So, most of the year, well, aside from the heat, we're out doing stuff. We have lakes everywhere. We have the beaches, the attractions. So we're most of us were always out doing something in nature, bearing the heat, of course. So like I would spend my weekends fishing with my friends, or fishing with my dad, or going fishing by myself. And that's what I did for fun, and that was the most enjoyment of my life. Like my life was getting through the work week to go fishing, or to go do this with a friend, or go do this with my girlfriend, or, my now wife. And when I became homebound in 2018, all of that stopped. Everything came to a halt. Like, everything that I enjoyed in life was gone. And ever since then, obviously I've learned new hobbies and enjoyments in life, but like my primary focus, I need to get better so I can go do these things and not actually just enjoying the moment. Aside from any type of anxiety or anything. And luckily, I've gotten to a place now to where I have hobbies and things that I enjoy to do. And, a lot of us, the only thing that we can do is, we find little crafting hobbies to do, or we spend a lot of time on YouTube or watching movies and shows and stuff. And so for me, like, I play video games, that's a clear option. And I watch YouTube. And that's what brings me enjoyment. So, I just need to take the time to be like, you know what? I had a good day today. I had fun today. It sounds so crazy to say, yeah, because we're grown, especially my generation growing up. It's like if you spent the day playing video games, you're like, oh, why'd you spend the day playing video games? You wasted all that time. And they're looked at it in such a bad way. And my therapist was like, you have to stop looking at, spending a few hours playing video games as a bad thing. It's actually a good thing, because, it's kind of like a distraction technique, gives your mind time to relax and you time to have fun. So, I've been trying to tell myself and retrain my mind that it's okay to have a good day and to have fun, even though I'm not out in the world doing stuff. Because like I said, for the first, 27 years of my life, my life was going out and doing stuff away from the house. If I was stuck at the house and I had to sit for a few hours, aside from like nighttime, getting ready for bed, doing, watching TV with the wife and stuff, aside from that, but like if I had to spend one of my days off at the house doing nothing, that was misery for me. So I've just been conditioned for the first 27 years of my life that was boring. That was a waste of a day. But now, because I don't have a choice, if I spend the day relaxed, calm, not stressed, but I, spend a few hours playing this game, or I spend a few hours reading, or I spend a few hours listening to podcasts, and I had a good day. I need to learn to enjoy that. Be like, look at back at the day and be like, you know what, I had a great day. So as important as it is for us to get better and to progress, it's also important for me and for other people to sit back and enjoy the day. Like, I had an okay day today. Didn't have much anxiety. I spent the day doing what I love. Well, now I enjoy doing, and it was a good day. And it's something that I think we need to keep in mind. I'm looking over here because I have my other computer screen and I have like notes. So, only focused on how this was stopping me from living my life. Talked about that. Not taking the time to enjoy life for the progress I've made. That's a key. And again, that's just something that we have to keep in mind. And then something else that I wrote down here, how this has affected me on a personal level with growing my family. So my wife and I, we've been together since high school. We've been together 10 years now. And by this time, I'll be 30 in a couple months. And this is not where I wanted to be at 30. I have older parents. My mom's in her late 60s, my dad's in his 70s. So, like, they're old. For my generation, even. My parents were 40 when I was a little kid, like in their 40s. So, I always told myself I didn't want to be an old parent. I didn't want to be the old dude with the young kid, like my parents were. Because, my parents were kind of boring. It sounds bad, but they never did anything. And I always, attributed that because they were older. And I know I won't be like them. And, I'll do stuff with my kid and go and do things. But I always told myself I wanted to be a younger parent. And I know 30 is still plenty young. And I know most people wait until their late 20s and 30s to have kids. But, like, I'm also, like, I'm almost 30. And I haven't, like, my wife and I, we've been together 10 years. And we wanted to have kids by now. So I think that weighs a lot on me too. And I'm sure because I'm told myself I'm not bringing a kid into the world unless I can take the kid out to do stuff. Like, I'm not gonna, like, if my wife's pregnant, what am I gonna do? Just not go to my child's birth, to the hospital because it's 30 minutes away? Like, that's not an option for me. Like, so, like, I told myself, like, I have to be better by the time I have kids. And I would love to hear how parents deal with having kids and agoraphobia, because, like, I know there's a lot of people that have kids and deal with agoraphobia, and, like, I can only imagine how tough it is to not be able to go do stuff with them and not be able to take them to their soccer practice, or take them to their games, or take them to their doctor's appointments and stuff. And I can only imagine how tough that is on your spouse, or the spouses. Like, I can only imagine how tough that is. And, so, my wife and I decided not to have kids until I was better, and I am so much better. My general anxiety is very low. It's just, I still have panic when I go out and try to do exposure therapy, and I'm working on that. But, but I have to accept the fact that if I'm going to not have a kid until I'm better, then it's going to take as long as it takes, and I'm praying it's only, a couple more months until I can really get out and do stuff, or maybe a year until I can really go back to town. And, because, like, I know I'm not going to be 100% better, but I want to be able to at least go do stuff, maybe when I can drive 30 minutes from the house, or I can make it to this place or that place once I've gotten my comfort zone farther. And I know that there's setbacks, and I can always take a few steps back. but I just want to be a little bit further in my progress before I have kids, you know? So again, I would love to hear from parents' perspectives how you guys deal with this. And if you're in the same spot, like, are you agoraphobic and you want to have kids? What's your plan? You know, are you just gonna wait until you're better or well enough to provide an adequate life to them, or are you just not gonna have kids until you're better, you know? And I hate saying being better, you know, like it's a goal. I mean, it's a goal, but like I also understand that I may never be 100% better. And looking back, I've never ever been 100% comfortable as far as like comfort zones are concerned. I've always wanted to be relatively close to the house, even when I was normal. Like I was still like, wow, I'm an hour from the house. It's kind of nerve-wracking. You know, I've always had that in the back of my mind, so I understand that I'll never be 100% better or 100% cured. Some people do, though. Some people do get 100% cured, so who knows? We'll see. But again, I would love to hear from other people's perspective on how they deal with life, you know, as agoraphobics. And one last thing I wanted to touch on was career. This was a big thing for me when this all started. You know, I don't have a college degree. I was actually working my way through college in my 20s. And in 2014, I took a break, and that break has never stopped. So I never went back to college. And unfortunately, I've always worked like entry-level jobs. And most of those jobs, actually all of my jobs, have either been in customer service or sales. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of my anxiety issues came from my jobs and whatnot. But, you know, when this all happened, I was working for a contact center, a call center. And, you know, I was working my way up through the ranks. You know, I was in essentially, I wasn't a manager, but I was like almost a manager. I was a team lead. And when this all started, and, you know, I was like, man, in a year I'll be a manager, and you know, 2 years from then I'll be working my way up the ladder, because that's in the company I was at or I was with. That's how it worked. And I was doing really well at that job, you know. And for those of you who've watched my first video, you know, like when this all started, you know, I didn't really know what was going on. I just knew that I couldn't make it to work because I drove an hour to work. So I went on FMLA. I went on leave for a few weeks, for about a month. You know, I got a therapist and all this and all that. And, you know, I came back to my bosses and I was like, hey, like, I can't make the drive. Like, I can't do it right now. Like, I'm going through some stuff. And they're like, all right, we'll get some get some notes or get a note from your doctor saying you can't make it, and we'll try and let you work from home. And, you know, I worked from home for 6 months, which was probably one of the worst things that could have happened, because that's when I really started to really sink in and set into getting comfortable at home, and really drove in the scared to leave the house stuff. And I didn't really know what I was doing at the time, but that's when it all really started, and this was in the summer of 2018. You know, and after they gave me a 6 months to work from home, and a 6-month window to get better, get my life together. You know, and after that 6 months was up, they're like, hey, time to come back to the office. Even though I was doing my job just fine from home, they're like, you need to be in the office. Because part of my job was being on the floor, communicating with other agents and helping them. So that was a big part of my job description. And I couldn't do that. You know, and at the end of that 6 months, you know, I was, for whatever reason, I couldn't get my time extended. So I had to find a different job. And, you know, that job, I ended up losing that job. And it was a big hit to me, because I was like, because I had already spent, you know, like 6 years in customer service, and I was really working my way up the ladder, and, you know, it was a big hit to my career in my eyes. And I had to get a really crappy work from home job, customer service job from home, which I only worked there for a couple months before I left. And, you know, this stuff has really affected me career-wise, and I can only imagine, you know, how people who don't already have a career that's remote, how this can affect you work-wise. And that was a big thing for me, you know. And, you know, I took a year off from work. well, a year and a half actually. Luckily my wife just barely made enough to keep us afloat from her job. So I took a year off to get my mind right. And that was really bad for me because, I wasn't doing the things that I loved. Didn't have any hobbies, and then I wasn't working. So I literally just sat in this house and just dwelled on everything, and it was terrible, just absolutely terrible. And I got very depressed, and I was like, okay, I need to start working again. So I found a remote job doing customer support / sales, and it's an okay job. I don't have to actually like vocally talk to anybody. It's a chat position, so I just chat with people, and it's a decent job. But I think going back to the career, like when I was growing up, when I thought of what 30 looked like for me, this was not what I thought 30 would look like. I thought I would have a career, I'd have a degree by now, I'd have a fancy career, and I would be making good money and enjoying life. And I think all that premeditative thoughts just weren't realistic, and it took me a very long time to stop beating myself up over it because, I had all these expectations for myself. And when all of this started, I lost everything. I lost my job, I lost my career path, I lost all of my fun, in my eyes, I lost everything because I couldn't do anything that I loved, and I had lost my career. So now, over this last year, I've been really trying to learn how to enjoy life, be happy with what I have. And it's helped a lot. It's really helped with my mental clarity and my focus and just overall positivity, because I always, like, oh, poor me, and, there's so many people in this world that have so many problems, even worse off than me, So I've really been trying to approach things differently and be thankful, I'm thankful that I have found a hobby that helps me get through the day, or, a job that allows me to work from home that I don't truly hate. I don't enjoy it, but I don't hate it, So, yeah, and I'm probably going to make a separate video about working from home and stuff you can do as an agoraphobic to still work, because I've learned a lot. And I'm sorry if this seems kind of rambly. I'm not really familiar with how to edit videos, so it's just going to be one take. I'm sure I'll learn over time. But I appreciate you guys. Those of you who stuck around and who came from Reddit and who found the video naturally. I appreciate you guys. And again, I'm hoping the best for us all. Stay positive. Try and look at the bright side. Try and enjoy the small things. Try and enjoy just at the end of the day, look back in the day and say, hey, I might have had a rough anxiety day, but I got this done. Or I did this and I had fun for an hour. Just try and find one part of the day that you're like, you know what, that was fun. Or I didn't mind that. Because I know how tough it is that all we want to do is look at the negatives. And you don't want to just sit and like, you know what, I had about 5 hours today where I had a good time. I wasn't stressed. I was just doing whatever. So I challenge you to do that. And let me know, what do you do for fun? What are things that you do to distract yourself? What are some of your hobbies from home? I always love to learn more about what people do to distract themselves. What do you do for work? I know customer service and sales is probably one of the most popular things that people do from home, but those of us who were lucky to have degrees and careers already, like, what kind of job do you have? Tell me about it. Again, my name's Tyler. Thank you for stopping by, and yeah, see you later.